What's your take on Army after 3 weeks?
There's definitely still a lot of room for improvement. We like to pride ourselves in the fourth quarter, and it's something that we haven't been proud of the last couple of weeks. So we're always keep trying to still improve finishing games and finishing plays. That's a big part, especially when you play a lot of good opponents, especially Western Kentucky. UConn beat us in the fourth quarter, and obviously Miami coming up is definitely a tough opponent. So, we just been focusing on trying to get better with finishing games.
How'd you feel like the starters did in that regard against UConn?
We made some plays, but we also made some mistakes. It wasn't perfect by any means. And UConn was still, a well-coached team. They played all the way through the game, and that's something that we have to learn from. And we can't try to take advantage of in the future. We're not who we think we are, and no team's ever just going to give up. So we still have to get in a mindset that we have to finish every game to the final whistle.
Other than cleaning up mistakes, how is the defense better than from the start of the year?
We're just getting more confident. We're getting, back into football shape and, the right mindset, like how we were in kind of in the meat of the season last year. The beginning of the season is always rough, no matter what side of the ball you're on. There's going to be a lot of mistakes, but, we're trying to take it day by day, week by week with a new opponent and just trying to keep improving the little things because that will apply to the grand scheme of the game plan and et cetera.
Thank you.
Malcolm, hi, Ken Kreitzer, SAL Radio. Hey, let's just go back to Saturday for a moment. The 4th and 4 play that you and Nolan Cockrell stopped for a loss that ended the drive that in the first quarter. Tell us a little bit about that play, which on the 4th and 4.
Yes, sir. Just by game plan, the quarterback was definitely shifting. We kind of knew that they wanted the ball in his hands. He's definitely a runner, gave us some problems kind of scrambling. And, Coach Woody, he's just a genius in kind of what he does. And it was a great play call to just try to get a lot of heads to the ball. And I just seen the quarterback, tuck it with the lead blockers running back. And I just tried to, bring it back after Nolan stuffed it and not let him fall forward. Just try to drag him back behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Now, looking at Miami, they've they got 3 games in. Is there one game that you tend to look at the film in? They played Cincinnati, they had a close loss to Minnesota, and then they scored 42 points against Long Island University this past week. Is there one game that stands out in watching film, shows you, kind of where their offense is at?
Not particularly one game. Obviously, each of their opponents are different, they're also a team where you can't look at the record to determine who they are. They played some great opponents, and they've played through the whole game. They didn't quit at any moment. They're a big, physical, fast, athletic team, and this is not going to be just an easy game where we just think we could go out and try to win. They're definitely an opponent who we have to focus on a lot and, just try to focus on the details in order to be prepared to win the game.
Yeah. In your position, do you tend to focus on looking at the studying up on the opposing quarterback, what tendencies are? They've got 2 sophomore quarterbacks, Gabert and Mayer, that they've played. Is studying the quarterback one of the priorities in reviewing film?
Yes, sir. I think that's kind of with most teams or just most positions, especially around the box, even safeties. You just have to know who you're playing. Focus on the receivers and quarterbacks. And the Miami quarterbacks, they're definitely good players, and they could get problems, running the ball, throwing some throws, but they're definitely mobile enough where they can hurt you in whichever way they can.
Very good. Thanks, Malkelm.
Malcolm, with the reserves playing pretty much the second half and even into the second quarter, how much of a physical rest is it for you guys who are starting? And is there a physical difference? Do you think you'll feel a little fresher this week?
Yes, sir. There's always, recovery is always something that you want to take advantage of when you can. But second half of the game, definitely, the extra 30 minutes is definitely, a good rest time. But at the end of the day, I mean, the backups, they just had to finish the game. It's their turn to shine. And we were still over there helping them, giving them knowledge, because one thing we have over them is definitely the experience part. But, they're still great players, and they're the future of the program once we leave. So we still try to be active in the game and not just lay back and, mind their own business. But the recovery is definitely a big part.
We asked the coaches about the reserves getting in, and they kind of kept it, closer to that, saying, yeah, they had fun. Yeah, they need to clean up their act. But you're with these guys every day. What was their emotional reaction to being able to get quality playing time? What was it like that day, the next day in practice?
I think some of them were, definitely surprised. It's their first time, especially playing at Mikey with, a lot of fans there. They haven't really experienced this before. So there was a little bit of shock. But also I think they settled in, especially towards like the end of their first drive and even the second drive. I think they played as hard as they can. There's always things to fix. Even though the starters, we have missed assignments. We mess up some things. No one ever plays perfect. So I think there's always room for improvement. I just think they're just going to continue to get better day by day.
Well, I guess my question should have been more, what was their emotional reaction to getting the opportunity? Was there a lot of enthusiasm? Were you guys all happy for each other that, hey, they got their shot too?
Yes, sir. We're always happy when other people can play, and it's not just the starters, the whole game. So we were definitely happy for them. They were happy they got this opportunity. As you know, just not many freshmen or even young guys play at this level of college football. A lot of us starters didn't play our freshman year, so it was definitely just a good experience for them. And they were happy, they were excited, we were excited for them. So it just all came together.
Similar to when you broke in, did you get this sense of hunger? Like, hey, I want to do that again. I want to earn some more playing time. Was that the same process for you?
Yes, sir. I mean, I started playing my sophomore year. Definitely takes time to settle in, but you always want to just go out there and prove yourself every time. Even now as a senior, there's a lot of other seniors on our roster, me, Eric, Cedric. It's easy to lose that hunger, but I don't think we have, just because our coaches aren't scared to start someone else over us. So we always have to, prepare to keep being hungry and keep pushing. Because like I said, I mean, we'll mess up, and if we keep doing it, our coaches will replace you. So, we just have to keep trying to be hungry and keep striving to be great.
Thank you.
Hey, Malcolm, just ask you about, were you dressed for the 2018 game against Miami? Do you have a memory of that game? It was as exciting a finish as we've seen at Mikey Stadium, and Elijah Riley, saved the day with his tackle on the 4-yard line. Do you have a memory of that day?
Yes, sir. I was dressed in sweats on the sideline, but I do remember that game. It was definitely a wild game, and I do remember when Elijah Riley came up and on the, I think it was 4th and short maybe, and he came up and hit the, I think it was the running back on the late pass before he could get in the end zone or get the first down. So definitely do remember that play, and that was just, as a freshman, that's exciting to see, someone you look up to, especially as a corner back then, to see make a play in a big time moment.